Which business credit cards pull from Equifax for their actual approval? So that's exactly what we're going to dive into right now during today's training. I'm actually going to give you 6 of my favorite credit cards to be able to get based on the poll coming from Equifax for approval. Actually, I'm talking about 6 different card issuers. We're going to talk about way more than 6 cards that you can actually get that are actually looking at Equifax for the approval. Now, why is this important? It's important because it helps you with credit card stacking. It helps you get even more money to grow your business. And I'm going to dive into credit card stacking, how to maximize your approvals, and dive into the details of all 6 of these accounts to report to Equifax right now. We got a lot to dive into, so let's go. So you need to know which bureau cards pull from if you're looking to get maximum funding from your business, and here's why. When one bank sees an inquiry from another bank on your credit report, then they are inclined to either decline the application or approve you for way less money than you would typically get. So if I go get a Chase credit card today and get a $10,000 limit, and then I go tomorrow to get Bank of America, well, there's a good chance that Bank of America is going to deny me or only give me a $5,000 or $6,000 limit because they see that Chase inquiry and they don't know if I'm out there applying for a bunch of credit at the same time. So how do we overcome that? Well, we overcome that by knowing the bureau that each source pulls from. So in this example, if I'm actually getting a credit card with Chase, then if I know Chase only looks at, for example, TransUnion, and I know Bank of America is looking at Equifax, well, then that allows me to get both of those accounts where the other card issuer isn't even looking at to see that the other client has, or the other bank has an inquiry because they're pulling from different bureaus. So basically, this just means we get a lot more money and get it a lot faster. This is how we do credit card stacking. It allows us to get multiple different cards at the exact same time, and knowing which bureau each card is pulling from is essential to be able to get this done. So that being said, here is 6 of my favorite accounts that pull from Equifax. Very beneficial, especially if Equifax is your better of your 3 consumer credit reporting agencies. I'm going to dive into all 6 right now, so let's go. So number 1 on my list is Citizens Bank. Now, Citizens Bank has a business everyday points card and also a business platinum card that pulls from Equifax. Now, some regions are excluded here. And New York is that area, that region of the country where sometimes they'll look at TransUnion in lieu of Equifax or on top of Equifax. So if you're in that Northeast region, it's something to keep in mind. But throughout the rest of the United States, Citizen is typically pulling from Equifax to make their decision and not pulling from other bureaus. Number 2 on my list is Truist. Now, Truist has a business cash rewards card. They also have a business travel rewards card. And look, almost all of the Truist credit cards are pulling from Equifax everywhere in the country. As a matter of fact, if I look at banks issuing credit cards, Truist is the biggest bank and most notorious bank for looking at Equifax. So any of the cards that you look at from Truist are typically using Equifax for the approval. So something to keep in mind, because these Truist cards, if you want to get your approvals based on Equifax, are probably one of, if not the best credit card issuer to do it with. Now that brings me to number 3 on the list, probably a source you've never heard of before, and they are called Digital Federal Credit Union. Now they're also known as DCU, and they offer a business Visa Platinum card, and they may opt for TransUnion in certain states like New Jersey. So again, we're seeing this Northeast region plays a little bit by different rules, but typically throughout the rest of the country, they are using Equifax for their actual approval. And again, they have multiple good credit cards that you're able to choose from depending on like what incentives you want, like travel rewards points or cash back. Now that brings me to number 4 on the list, which is another one you probably haven't heard of before, which is Langley Federal Credit Union. So Langley FCU provides a platinum Visa business credit card, and they are pulling only from Equifax for their approval. There really are no regional restrictions, so they're doing that no matter where you are in the United States. And I really prefer these credit cards issued by credit unions versus banks. I find that they're a little bit easier to get approved for as well. So make sure you check them out, Langley Federal Credit Union. Now, the other one on my list is one you obviously know, which is Citibank. Now, Citibank offers a AA Advantage Platinum card that is perfect and is known for pulling from Equifax. Now, some states, including California, Florida, and New York, are very, very, very locked into pulling from Equifax. What I mean by that is that some other states, they may actually look at another bureau, but at least those states definitively are pulling from Equifax. So if you're in another state outside of that, well, make sure the Citi card you're actually applying for is definitely pulling from Equifax. But a lot of credit card Citi issues, including the AA Advantage Platinum card, is definitely pulling from Equifax. And that brings me to Discover. And now, Discover might be the last on my list, but it's also one of my favorites. And Discover is one of my favorite credit cards because with Discover, you can ask for a limit increase every single month. With normal credit cards, you need to wait about 6 months to actually request a limit increase, but Discover is really the only credit card out there that I know of that you can actually ask and typically receive a limit increase every single month, so it helps you increase your limits even faster. And a lot of the credit cards they offer, including their IT card, is actually pulling from Equifax. So there you have it. There's my 6 favorite cards that are pulling from Equifax. Some disclaimers and disclosures here to think about is that, as you've seen, some of these have industry restrictions, or some of these have geographic restrictions, meaning if you're a certain area in the country, they may pull from another bureau instead of Equifax. So keep that in mind. You always want to do one more deep look before you actually fill out the application. I find it's a good idea to call them before you apply and say, hey, for this credit card, which bureau are you using for your approval? I don't tell them Equifax. I just ask them and let them tell me. Now, if they tell me anything other than Equifax, I'm usually going to call about 3 times and talk to 3 people and then go with the majority of what they say, because sometimes those front-end reps, customer service side, don't know what they're actually talking about. But these are the ones pulling from Equifax, so make sure you do one verification before you actually apply. Also, keep in mind, these terms change all the time. Right? So these things, even though they might report to Equifax today or might pull from Equifax today, it may change in time. So depending on when you're seeing this, it's another reason you want to do one more of those deep dives. And one more thing to keep in mind is that sometimes they pull from more than just one bureau. So again, even though we know these are the ones that are pulling from Equifax mostly, you want to do that one verification call before you actually apply. Hey, speaking of business credit cards, if you're looking to get approved for more business credit cards, make sure you go to creditsuite.com/get funding. And if you're interested in building your business credit, grab our free guide that maps out the steps for you at creditsuite.com/EIN. Hey, did you get value from this training? If you did, make sure you smash the like button and subscribe. And I look forward to talking to you on our next training, where we talk about more cool ways to get the money you need to start and grow your business. Take care.